have to stay with him. Just like I said to the court, I represent him directly. We grew up together. I've told that story many times here. We grew up together in Umahi. We went to the same Library Avenue Primary School and Government College Umahi. He was my junior, way junior, but he's my brother. And it is my responsibility as a member of the National Assembly who represents him to speak for him, whether right or wrong. And especially as it concerns to the administration of criminal justice and others in that gap. I felt I wasn't surprised with the judgment.
Let me put the question to you, because after many years of what you might call an attritional case against Mr. Kanu, the verdict came in and he was convicted on all 7 terrorism charges. What was your reaction to that verdict?
No, I expected it. I knew it was going to happen.
Why did you?
Because of the insistence of the government, not even to listen to pleas, not willing to listen to many people, not just myself, trying to ask the government to intervene.
But those are 2 different things.
They were dismissive. They were insensitive to those pleas.
But aren't those 2 different things?
No, there are not 2 different things. Because before now is Nnamdi Kanu. Who else before now has been convicted of terrorism charges in Nigeria?
No, what I'm saying is the case went through the court process.
The law, Charles. Yeah, I also appreciate that the case went through the court process. Because Nnamdi has been on trial literally for 10 years. So now he's gone through the court process, but within the law says in section 174 of the Constitution also gives the president the latitude through the Attorney General to invoke a nolle prosequi before determination of the case.
I understand that. What I'm saying is that there are 2 different things. I mean, what I'm talking about today is the legal process, not the political side of things, but the legal process where evidence had to be submitted in a court of law and it had to go through the process. I mean, what is your assessment? Because you were in court every day.
I was in court every day. There were certain things that even came out today that I was hearing for the first time. And I was in court almost every time with the lawyers, with Nnamdi Kanu.
You mean what you were hearing the judge say?
As part of the judgment of the court.
Well, that's why there's an appeal process.
So yeah, but I'm happy now that before I left the courtroom, I spoke with the consultants who were previously lawyers to Nnamdi. And Nnamdi has also indicated that within the 90-day allowable, that he's going to appeal the judgment to the Court of Appeal. So the road is still long. So, but what I'm saying with that is to say to our people to remain calm and do not take the laws into their own hands and allow the court process to terminate where it should terminate back again to the Supreme Court. So that I don't want to see we wake up tomorrow morning and people are disrupting public services or people going about their businesses, trying to burn down houses and all those stuff. Those things are not necessary. What is necessary now is our prayers for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, our prayers for his family, our prayers for Nigeria for that matter, and then our prayers for his legal team, so that God will give them the wisdom and courage to be able to put up an appellate brief that will now take to the appeal court and have the matter determined there.
And of course, you had to speak on his behalf today in court. I mean, live on television, everybody around the world watching you having to intercede because Nnamdi Kanu was removed from the court. He was ejected from the courtroom. And he had previously fired his lawyers, so he didn't really have any proper legal representation at that stage through his own sort of hand. The judge complained about how cocky and arrogant Nnamdi Kanu was throughout the duration of the case and even today. I mean, do you agree with his assessment?
No, I don't. I mean, if you have been put in solitary confinement for almost 10 years, Charles, you too will react in the same manner that Nnamdi Kanu reacted today. Yeah, it was unfortunate in certain quarters, but this is a man who's been pushed desperately to the wall. Haven't been given any opportunities to adequately defend himself. The judgment has come.
I don't understand what you mean by he wasn't given opportunities to adequately defend himself. He had lawyers, he fired them.
What facilities were he given to you? When you look at Section 36 of the Constitution, the Constitution makes it explicit what a defendant, the rights of a defendant in a criminal trial. Nnamdi was never given those opportunities. So the consultants may shed some more light there. There were times they were not allowed even to have access to their client, to be able to have discussions with their client, know how to plan their defense. Those things were not there. It was one level of frustration to another. That was why I was saying, I kept screaming that time that the manner that Nnamdi's case has been handled and the rush to judgment appears that there are two sets of rules. I keep saying that.
Right, but let me ask you this. Having seen that, because I do recall you mentioning the fact, and it was actually in the public sort of space, that sometimes his legal team had a challenge trying to see him.
Very difficult challenges trying to see him.
Given that, how strange did it seem to you, and possibly in the annals of the law and legal jurisprudence, that Nnamdi Kanu himself then took it upon himself to fire his legal team?
Charles, also remember that as we talk, I'm not a lawyer.
No, I understand
I've never pretended to be one.
But what I'm saying is
fundamentally,
he was neither in court nor had any formal representation.
He has a right fundamentally to also, defend himself.
No, I understand that, but I'm asking you in your capacity.
But he couldn't have arrived at that decision without any legal advice.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I'm asking you because of all the people that I know beyond his lawyers, you were very close to him. You spoke to him, you saw him fairly regularly. And I wondered whether or not he communicated to you the idea behind firing his legal team.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I think even when I was here on the show previously, we talked about it. I said I was not aware. Most of us came to court that day shocked and surprised at his decision to debrief his lawyers. But he couldn't have arrived to that decision without also the lawyers giving him legal advice. Him being the client, deciding that it was in his best interest to defend himself. If for the benefit of hindsight, if I had known then, I would have advised him otherwise to have his legal team in place. But if you note the rush to judgment, Charles, whether he had a defense team or not, they would have still arrived at the same conclusion.
Right. Anyway, the point is that, as they say, we are where we are. But you are one person who has stood with him. And I think many Nigerians will commend you for that.
Thank you.
But all this must have left you emotionally drained because, you've invested so much of your soul in this case. How do you feel now?
Well, what I did was not extraordinary. It's what every representative
ought to do. But doesn't always do.
it. So it's not something for accolade or anything, but it's something that if you swore an oath to represent a certain group of people, that you have to be there in the gap to speak for them and advocate for them. No matter how terrible the circumstances, it's your responsibility to be able to do that. A lot of people see just in Nnamdi Kanu. I've also advocated for people who have lost their jobs in various agencies and parastatals, who themselves were dismissed for about 8 years, 10 years, and whose jobs are being restored through our public petition process. That is also part of representation. But for me, representation means being out there in truth, not defending false allegations, but in truth to say, this is my constituent, that especially in the administration of criminal justice, there seems an appearance of an injustice. Please, can we look into this? And when that injustice also leads towards, is more intentional, to be able to say, okay, we're definitely going to get you.